This is a video about entries, stops, and targets, um, as well as risk management for you degens out there, myself included. So, I touched on entries in exits on my previous video. I really want to hammer it home because I don't want people out here losing money for lack of understanding, right? It's one thing to make a decision, it's one thing to not know that decision, right? So most traders lose not because their idea is wrong, but because the execution sucks, right? And so I want this video to help fix that, right? We're taking clean entries, tight stops, and logical targets using the strat. So where to enter? You enter on the trigger, right? So if you have had time to look at this, then you'll see where the trigger line is. It's always black written here, right? So that's where you enter. And I did mention that this can be on the day, on the week, on the 5. It doesn't matter. Let's do the 15, just for shits. So I see I have a 312 today on the 15. There's my entry, right? So I want to enter on my trigger, right? That's the level where the pattern confirms, right? Because we are trading patterns at the end of the day, right? And the break of the inside bar or the reversal bar or the high or the low, whatever it is, for this example, it's the inside bar. So we don't want to run from it. We don't want to guess. That's where we want something to break. So if I enter on the 15, then I need to give it 15 minutes to work out, right? So the close, so until this candle closes, I'm in this trade, right? Usually. And we're talking about basics, right? We're not talking about the nuances of when would I get out, when do I break the rule. I'll make a whole series about when to break the rules. Right now, this is my entry, okay? My exit can either be here, right? And this depends on your risk, or here, right? And we'll talk about risk in a minute. My target is here, right? Target. So if this is my target, and that's just my target for 15 minutes, right? If this trade works, and this is why we want to look at multiple time frames. So I'm going to do that, okay? I'm going to pull up the 30-minute chart as well. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to do it like this so it's even easier for you to see and understand. So, and this happens all the time with the strat. This was my entry, right? And I'm going to actually put my crosshairs on both of these just so you can see, okay? So this is my entry on the 15, the inside bar, right? And if you look to the right on the 30-minute chart, you can see where that entry is, okay? So if I'm entering here on the 15-minute chart and it goes and hits my target, notice how my target is also my entry for the 30-minute. So the 30-minute is what? A 3-2 continuation, right? So if I come back here, I can see my initial entry is a, what is that? A 312? 312. So, of course, now I can't find it. So, 3, 1, 2, up. Okay. Oh, that's a reversal. So it's actually this. 3, 1, 2, right? Up. And once you start studying this sheet, you'll start to see and know and realize what everything is. Okay. You'll just be able to know off rip what's a continuation, what's a rev, what's happening, really. So there's that. So I can take this 3-2, right? And that will change my target. Now my target is up here and up here, right? Off the 30. So I just want to get through that, right? So we enter at our target, we enter at our trigger, we exit at our targets, or we take profit at our targets, and we exit at our stops, okay? So I want to clarify stops because I don't want people losing money, right? Your stop is just beyond your setup candle, right? So there and or there for a 2-1-2. For this 3-2, right? Because this is so large, I'm going to have to go to a lower time frame, right? And see if I have a better stop, because I don't want to enter here, right? And then my stop be way at the bottom. That's why you have a couple of options, right? You can put your stop here, which is still quite far. And also you're kind of blowing through a few targets. But ultimately, if we take all that off, this is your entry. This is a 3-2 continuation. Right, there's your entry, there's your stop. Okay. So that's where you want to be placing your stop if you have a really huge candle. Okay. How to find your target. So your target equals magnitude, right? And that's your next logical price level, for lack of better terms. And the way to find that is to just look left, right? And you want to find a previous swing high or swing low. Because we're going up, we want to find a swing high. And that's why I was drawing my targets here and here, right? Because if I'm entering here, where's the next swing high? All of this doesn't exist yet, okay? Right? Because I'm entering on a live candle. So this candle's moving. This would be my entry. So if I'm looking to the left, right, my next swing high is here and then there, okay? That's that. Your target could also be the edge of a broadening formation. Let me find something. You may have a better one on Tesla. Broadening formation specific. Let's see what Tesla gives me. And we may need to be on the day. So, yeah. Entry here. Okay. Entry. Then we have target 1, target 2, target 3. But it kept going, right? It actually gapped. So my last target, right, is the top of my broadening formation, which is this blue line. You should already be drawing broadening formations, right? So this is a daily broadening formation, and if I zoom out, this is likely a weekly broadening formation, something like that, this white line. So sometimes your targets can be broadening formations or like a major level for a gap fill, which we will have to talk about gaps separately because I don't see one right off the bat here. So that's how you do your entries, stops, and targets, right? So I want to talk about position sizing. Just a quick 101, right? Risk equals fixed amount. So pick a dollar number that you're okay with losing. For example, like $50, right? Then size your contract or share amount so that if your stop hits, you lose only that, right? So you need to have an understanding of how options work for you to even understand what I'm talking about, which I hope you do. I'm not going to go through how options work in this series, but your risk should be a fixed amount. I'm not losing any more than X amount a day, right? Because this is not about gambling, it's about precision, right? So you need to know your risk on a trade before you enter. Like no more just go with the flow, whatever the vibes are. You need a trigger, a stop, and a target. Like if you don't have all three of those, you should not be taking a trade, right? And that's going to push us into the risk management part of this video. So you can be right 40% of the time and still grow your account. So if your risk game is done properly, you can still grow your account with a 40% correct trading numbers, statistics, right? So this is about staying in the game long enough to win. So risk is not about being afraid. It's about knowing your limit on every trade. So you need to know what you're risking. You need to know how much you expect to make. And you should never be risking more than you can stomach losing right now. Okay? So I'm going to label that actually. So know what you're risking. Let's just call that 1R. That's the number one thing you should know. And know how much you expect to make. We'll call that 2R. That's the number 2 thing that you should know. So if we're talking about 1R, right? Know what you're risking. Risk per trade is imperative. If that's $50, then let it be $50. You lose $50 if it fails. And you can make $100 if it works. Like you don't have to win every time. You just need the math to work. This really doesn't have anything to do with the screen. Just listen to me. Like, it's so important that you know how much you're risking. Okay. And the number 2 important thing is you need to cut losers fast. The strat gives us clear invalidation points. So let me find a trade that didn't. Today. Right. Perfect. So I wanted to short hood. Okay. Let me redraw some Browning formations. Okay. So this would be the Browning formation, right? So ignore this green candle, right? Because it wasn't there when I was looking at this, right? This was a fail 2 up, and I wanted to take my entry here. Come on. Right, I want to enter here, and this is my target. Oh, I'm so glad I remembered this. Okay. So, because I want to show you that it doesn't always work. It works often, but not every single time. So, this is my setup, right? 2-2 reversal. Let's go back to our setup sheet. 2-2 reversal. Here's my 2. It was a red 2 up. So I want to enter there and go down. All right, I see that. Here's my 2 up. I want to enter here and go down. Great. However, first of all, this didn't even trigger. So may not be the best example in hindsight. Because it didn't trigger, you can't short this. That's a no. But let's say that it does trigger. Right? Let's say it went down. Let me see if I can draw something. Let's say it went down. Right? And then it came back up and through. Right? Something like this. If I know my stop is here, right? Then that means it doesn't matter that it triggered my trade, it came down, it came back against me. So what does that mean? This is a loser. I got to cut this. I got to get out immediately. And that's what's really awesome about the strat, right? It's telling me when to get in, where to get out, pardon me, and where to take profit. So it's really important for risk, right? You got to cut the losers fast. So the strat gives us clear invalidation areas. So if a setup fails, get out. Don't hope. Don't. It might come back. Like, just take a small loss as opposed to a big loss, right? Number 2 thing we got to do is let winners run. So let's find a winner. Likely on. I wonder if AVGo has a winner. Okay, this is a decent example. Oh, there's a few. Okay, so if this is my 1, 2, 2, right? Entry. This is my target. Right? Simple. We've been over this. But it keeps going. So why not let it hit this target, right? And that's what I mean by let winners run. So here, same thing. Come on. Entry. Target. But it kept going through that target, right? And so the second thing that I want to really push is you have to let winners run. So scale out when you need to of your risk, right? I'm only willing to lose $50. Okay. So as it hits my first target, just scale out. Let's take all that we put in. Let's say we pay $100. I hope you're not willing to lose 50%, but for ease of numbers, let's say you put in $100, you're only willing to lose $50. When we enter here and we get to this point, you need to be taking out that $100, right? Especially if you're new. If you're just learning how to trade and you're doing basics, take out your initial investment, because that will be enough there, right? And then you let winners just keep winning for you, okay? So you want to also trail your stops, which we can talk about, but don't let green trades ever turn into red trades. You have to protect your wins, okay? So the last thing I want to do, just wrap this up, risk is a weapon when it's used right. So stay small, stay sharp, and stay in the game, okay? So know how much you're risking, know what you expect to make, and never risk more than you can stomach. It's So if I put in $100 and I expect to make $50, and I get here and I've made my 50, that's great. So I'm going to take out my initial investment, and then the concept of let winners run comes now, right? I'm winning still. I'm still winning, right? So no need to get out of this trade. Okay. So that's I'm just trying to make sure. Yeah, so right, that's entries, stops, and targets, which we talked about at the top of this video, and then risk management. So don't go out here being a degen. If you want to do that, go trade some crypto. Really, I would implore everyone to take this seriously and really zone in and focus on these patterns and how things are working and how much you're risking, and get comfortable with these numbers, because you really only need 3-4 months of really focused in on risk management and entries and getting out at your targets, and then you can be a little more flexible and play. All right, but be really serious about it. Do your homework, get in there, start drawing your broad formations, memorize this chart. You should be able to call a 3-1-2, a 2-2 up, a 2-2 reversal, a 3-2 reversal. You should be able to call those out really in 2.5-ish weeks, right? Like, it doesn't take too much to learn that chart. Yeah. All right.